Hi, this is Barb Crowley, and welcome to Metaphysics, A View Through the Veil. Today we're talking to Janine Lowe. She is a metaphysics Chinese astrologer with over 19 years of experience reading charts for celebrities, business leaders, and private clients. Using birth dates and times, she helps people understand their destiny and personality traits to achieve their goals. Janine and I actually had an interview together last year about her book, which is Date, Love, Marry, Avoid, where she used Chinese astrology. Fabulous interview. So go back and find it, everybody. It was good. Email me if you can, I'll get it to you. She is also a body language expert, which I want to have her back to talk about that, an award winning feng shui consultant, which is what we're going to talk about today. And on her feng shui consulting, she enhances prosperity for the wealthy and large corporations. She has just authored a new book, Feng Shui for Your Way to Abundance, which is being actually came out yesterday. This is December 2024. So it's being published right now. So you have availability right now to purchase on Amazon, right? Amazon or any
Amazon.
place you want to get
I
them.
think Barnes and Noble as well.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Actually in America, it comes out on January 1st. In
Oh,
the
okay.
UK, it came out yesterday. Anyway,
Yeah,
hi
you
Bob.
can pre-order. People can pre-order.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today is feng shui, right?
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
So I mean, these things are pretty divergent, pretty different. Not divergent, but different. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but they came about in the same sort of way, because um, I think I talked about last year being an intuitive
Hmm.
and, from an early age and having a mother that decided that she didn't want me to be intuitive. And it was quite a difficult time, but we'll bypass that, to the fact that my friends, they loved it, obviously.
Hmm.
And one of my friends, something happened when I was 17, 18, and it was, I saw something quite major happen. And my mum got a priest to come and talk to me. I saw a car accident which had my to be husband in it. The weirdest thing was that when I saw the accident, I saw it from a view. Interesting, a view through the veil. I saw it from
Yeah.
a and basically I was in the car accident as well, but I got thrown out of the car. So when I was sitting on the car, the vision that I had was him in the car on flames. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, that caused a huge, we've got out safely. Um, that caused a huge problem within for my mum and everything. So she got a priest to come and see me, and I had a very versatile priest. And he said to me, Janine, just don't say anything that you see, just keep it to yourself, try and dull it down. So my
right.
girlfriends and everything at the time were like, oh, we don't want you to, but I was like, well, I just have to, I live with my mum. Anyway, a year or so later, I got married very young to my father's the son of my father, and he
Well,
loved.
wait a minute. You got married to who?
No, I've said it all wrong. Son of my father's son, the son of my father was a song years ago, wasn't it? When I was a DJ, but no. So I got married to the guy that was his name's Robert that was in the car
Car
accident.
accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
For a
And
minute there, I thought you were saying you got married to your father, and I thought, oh, we're going to have to back this up. Yeah.
I think I did say that, if
Yeah, but
I'm completely
this
honest.
might be a little
Yeah. I hoped you
sojourn to
hadn't,
the
yeah,
side here.
I hope you hadn't noticed. I'll just brush that away. Um,
Nope, I
so,
wanted to know more.
so when we got married and we bought a house together and everything, I was away from the influence of my mom, and he really loved it. He loved all my intuition. He'd be like, get in touch with your cousin and make her ring us. And I was like, what do you mean? We'll just think it and get her to ring. And I was like, oh, okay. And now it's okay, because in those days we're talking maybe, 40 years ago. I remember thinking about her and getting her to come to the phone and dialing it. Anyway, during that time, I met my best friend, Lizetta, and she said, I think you'd really like Feng Shui. And I was like, really? didn't know much about it. Saw a couple of adverts on TV for, men sitting in chairs with a refrigerator and a beer and a TV. So I knew it was about not having anything around. So
Talk about the basics.
that's it. That was what it was.
Yeah.
So then I decided, yeah, okay, what I'll do is I will look into it. So I started studying with someone in the UK, and I just found that it made sense because Feng Shui, people think it's all about, randomly putting things in certain places, but it's
Hmm.
not. It's about certain areas of your house, which I can talk about later, it have different energies. And if you, not energies like spirit, but energies like positive
Box.
energy, like chi, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
like if you open a musky wardrobe, that's dull chi. Yeah? But if you have a really nice window that's freshly opened and the air's coming in, that's the sort of chi I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Um, so then I started to learn Feng Shui, and it was great because I could go into people's houses, I could mask my intuition behind Feng Shui, so you didn't come over weird. And then, yeah, I took it from then. And then I started to learn the metaphysics of Chinese astrology, which is when Date, Love, Marry, Avoid came out. So after Date, Love, Marry, Avoid, I thought, I'm going to write a book on Feng Shui, a really basic book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that people can just use it because there's a lot of books out there, and I'm not saying they're wrong at all, but I
Hmm.
wanted to make it so that people from the minute they open the book, they could go to find exactly how to find the center of the house, find all the different areas of the house, and then immediately start working on the areas that are going to bring them in abundance. That was my thing, yeah.
Right.
Obviously, I've added to it like manifesting, decluttering, all the things that you need to bring abundance in, as I see it, yeah.
Hmm.
So that's where the beginnings of Feng Shui were, and then in the book,
The Bagua map. It
yeah,
took me a minute to say that
yeah, the bad one.
right.
I also put
Yeah.
the low show because on your house you have 9 different areas, and those different areas are in degrees in your house. Yeah.
Hmm.
So when I wrote the book, everyone, no one has the same, you don't have a square box for a house.
Right.
Sometimes you have like a bit missing, in the house. Like sometimes you have like an extension and then there's a big gap, this sort of
Hmm.
thing. One of my clients had a horseshoe house. I had never seen anything like it before. So the whole house was a horseshoe with a huge bit missing in it, right?
Right. The
So you
middle
could,
part was missing,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So I had to then work out what was missing in the areas using the compass and the bagua,
Uh-huh.
so that we could build the house outside to bring in the positive energy. So she was getting the energy, but working it in the garden and the house. It was a very, very interesting
What was
thing.
she missing though before you built it in? It was what
She was she
was
was
she
actually
missing?
missing good fortune. She was 100% missing ancestry, which is family, romance, and a little bit, I remember was missing when we put the plan over, wealth. So she really had a big problem. All of those are, quite a big thing,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
to do. So we had to build that into the garden as if it was the house.
And in your book I saw that so I worried all the way through about my house.
Okay, fine.
Of course. Um but because my front door, if you walk up to the front of the house, my front door is to your right. So that's where I was happy with your the way you did the bagua.
Hmm.
Because some people do take the front door. Well, the front door doesn't come directly into my house. It's if I'm facing my house, my front door is to my right.
Yeah, and
So
and
it
and
doesn't straight come in. Yeah. So
so
that
that's
was
why.
the problem to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, 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 and I understand, and that's why I don't use the front door feng shui.
That's what you were
Yes,
saying in your book. You don't use the
yeah,
front door.
because I like to think of the house as whole, yeah,
Hmm.
and then the front door, which is the mouth to your house, yeah. So
Right.
like the windows are your eyes, this sort of thing. And then I like to take the doors by themselves so that you know what direction you're coming in. So if you stand in front of your house with your compass, you can see what direction coming in, and then you can see what direction the door is. That's a bit more, I covered that in a
Hmm.
bit, but basically, the easiest way to know where your door faces, I just said this, if you're standing inside your house, yeah,
Hmm.
and you hold a compass. Now, if you're using a mobile phone compass, make sure you take all your jewelry off because it will not work. Yeah, but if you
Oh,
have
wow.
a normal compass, just a plastic one, £2 or £3 or $2 or $3, and you hold it and you put it against the door and you see which the red arrow is. So it might be like a north door because it'll be 0 degrees. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I do cover that. Then that means you've got a north door. Well, if you've got a north door, what that means is that you've got that your house, you can bring your career and new beginnings into your house. Yeah. If you've got a southwest door, you can bring romance and relationships into your house. I mean, I have a northwest door, and that's all about having helpful people in your life.
Right.
I have an abundance of people in my life. I've got my back door super sorted. Yeah. So
Yeah.
my back door is white, which is what you use for the Northwest. And it's always clean, it's tidy, it's uncluttered, it has a nice thing going up to it, bay trees, all this sort of thing. And I am so lucky, although I've obviously manifested it to make sure it's right and Feng Shuied it, I always have a lot of people that I can call on if I need anything.
Hmm.
Uh, which we all need something sometime. But yeah, so all the doors are covered in there, depending on what door you have, what color you should, what would encourage and enhance your life using that color door.
So before we, because I don't want to dive right into my door.
Okay.
But before we do this, because I love the way you did the Bagua map and how to do it. To me, it's very doable in your book, where
Yeah.
most, as I said, I've got an entrance that the door's to the right, but the entrance is straight in, but those are windows, they're not a door.
Yeah.
So right there, I'm stuck. you know?
And the
And the
truth is
way
you are. Yeah.
your bagua was, you want to explain that, how you did the bagua and how to figure out in your house. And then we are coming back to my door.
So the Bagua, right? So basically, you find the center of your house. The book shows you how to do it. Feng Shui
Hmm.
Wei shows you how to do it. So you basically, let's just have a square house for now because it's easier. Yeah,
Right.
need to explain it to find the center. I call it walking the line. But if you actually have, um, if you, I call walking the line when you don't have plans of your house that you can work out. If you have
Hmm.
plans of your house, you can work out the center so much easier because you can use a ruler and all that.
And there are no walls in your
Essentially,
way.
it's
Yeah.
easy. But do we all have that? No, we don't.
Yeah.
So what I do is I count the steps. So horizontally, I'll go across the width of no, the depth of the house, count that. So that's 10 steps. And then I'll go horizontally, and that's 14 steps, say. So you've got
Hmm.
10 steps that way, 14 steps that way.
And you're
Then,
taking the largest width and the largest length,
yeah.
right?
And then I
Yeah.
just go in. So I'd go in 5 steps, then go in 7 steps, and that would be the center. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? Yeah. So, and then you've got your compass, right? And that's when you start using your compass to the different degrees. So there's 9 areas, and each area has a degree, which I have put in the book because it's just easier rather than saying, oh, work this out. Yeah, when you're standing there and you've got your compass, you go, right, 90 degrees south, yeah, no, 180 degrees is south, yeah, then you know that is where fame and illumination is, yeah.
Hmm.
Illumination is like meditating, it's about finding yourself. So it's somewhere that people go and they sometimes, if they like to set up their what's it called? Like they put all their crystals.
Meditation room is what I
Yeah,
think, or an
that sort of
altar.
thing.
Some
Yeah,
people
also,
have
yeah.
an
Because
altar.
some people like to do that. That's where you put it because you can literally chill right down. Yeah. So that's that. If you go to 90 degrees, which is where that lady was missing her house. That's ancestral and romance. So that's quite, I mean, they're all important areas. But I always say when you go to Feng Shui your house, find your top three. Do not try and do all nine. Okay. Your
Uh-huh.
top three, whether it be wealth, relationships, good fortune, or wealth, relationships, career. Because if you overdo it, you don't, you cannot do nine areas. I don't have nine areas. I do now because
Hmm.
it's my house. I teach here, so I show people what I've done for each area. But if you take three, and then it gives you in the book what goes into those areas, what elements are in that area. At the
Hmm.
back of the book, I also put in stories of people that I have feng shuied and what I told them to do and what the results were. And these are real people that I've worked
Right.
with.
I
Um,
have to say, before we go on, I had somebody feng shui a house I used to live in, little house, and every time they put something or they move something, it felt so much better where they moved it. And I have to ask, how come that's not a natural thing? In other words, I thought, oh my God, why didn't I put that there in the first place? Like, why didn't I hang the picture there? Or why didn't I put, I had this one particular statue, actually, an art piece. And, they moved it. And it was like, oh my God, that is so much nicer there. But it never occurred to me to put it there.
okay, so because we're trained where to put it,
Mm,
when we walk in, we know where the areas, and we're like, there's a game called Cluedo. So I always think that's what I'm like, yeah. And because it's a natural thing, we can see as soon as we know the areas, we can see what's wrong. I have a client.
hmm.
They said I work for celebrities and companies, but I also work for private people like yourself, that sort of thing.
Right.
Um,
And you can
and
do it by Zoom as well. You don't
yeah,
have to
they can.
physically be there.
They have to do a video and take pictures. It's quite in
Yeah.
depth, the amount of work they have to if I can't get there because I need to
Hmm.
know right
Right.
to the point. This client, she had not met anybody in 5 years and she wanted to meet somebody. And it was really, and I know she won't mind me telling you because you won't know who she is, but I worked out and she had her cat litter tray in her relationship area. And she was like, I went, this is your relationship and it's full of it's just and she was like, oh my God. And she moved it immediately. And we did a few more tweaks around the house and got a really nice manifest board of what she really wanted as a partner. But like I'm all about making manifests is about making it in depth, but also actionable because you can put sticky pictures all over everything, right? But
Hmm.
you've got to do the action that matches the thing that you want to manifest.
Right. So
So
what did you do for her
so basically we she
other than move the cat litter?
so we made this area in this particular area for her relationship what she really wanted. Very strong businesswoman as it happened as well. And so I gave her tasks to do, and she had to join a dating agency, which she was, well, I've been in one and, I paid them a lot of money. And I went, well, I don't know much about things like Hinge and all these, but they, that people say they work. I said, so let's go and find one that is suited to your age. Yeah, not one for the 20-year-olds or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, she went on there and she started going on dates and didn't work out. They weren't, it's a learning curve, isn't it? What you really
It
want.
is practice. Yeah.
Now she's with somebody within, I think it must have been, so she dated for about third month in, she met this guy and they are so serious. They're hardly ever apart now and they are such a good match. Obviously, she came to me, is he the one? And I did his chart and I said, yeah, he'll work with you. Yeah, he'll work.
Yeah.
And they're having the best time. So it was about painting as well, making sure mirrors were in the right place. But in this time, because we moved the list tray and she knew what she wanted, that made all the difference.
Mm. So intent is very important.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I cover intention in in the book because I think that it's really it goes under mindset, manifesting, intention, because you can use the feng shui and that's absolutely great. Right, I'm going to work in the relationship area. You read my book, I want to work in the relationship. Okay, so I have pairs of things in there, but you can have pairs of things that really matter to you, that make you want to meet someone. I mean, people might be in a relationship, but they want to make their relationship better, yeah. And
Mhm.
so you put in certain things, certain colors and all that. And as soon as you start to like move out the dining room table, you put in a snug couch for yourself and your partner and a couple of tables, and you sit there at a certain time, you're changing the area. You're changing the
Yeah.
area. You know, cleaning it is very important as well. So before you go and do the feng shui, you have to clean it, you have to declutter it.
I hate to
Um,
say it, that 90% of my audience just shut down right there.
well, it's just
Me
interesting.
included, because it's
Well,
such a big thing to get it clean, to get it the whole house clean
no, no,
and
no, no.
decluttered, you
Right,
know.
no. See, so what I said was you pick 3 areas only.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
manageable.
that is manageable. But what you do, see, I always find I mean, at the moment it's Christmas, so we're getting everything's like uppity duppity, yeah.
Right.
Then there's areas that aren't as tidy as even in my house that it should be. So decluttering to people, they should make it into a joy. So one of the things that I love to say is just bring a friend in with you, put the music up, have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, and just tackle an area for an hour. And then when you start to see how well you're doing, you'll just keep going on. But that's why I say don't say declutter the whole house, just
Right.
declutter. Yeah. I know I keep talking about stories. I had a client, I think she might be in the book, and she wanted to meet a man, and she wanted to live in Brighton as it happened, but she was in London. So I went up there, and we were going around the house and everything, and I went, what's in this room? And she was like, oh no, I don't like that room. No, I don't want to go in that room. I was like, well, it's going to be something important because you don't want to go in there.
Yeah.
There's a bathroom, and in the bathroom, she didn't like the decor, so she just used it as a stacking, putting all the stuff
Oh,
in.
yeah. Yeah, it was a it was, what did they call that? Well, it was a junk room,
A
basically.
junk room,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Because she had to spend money getting the bathroom ready, and she already had 4 bathrooms. Why
Oh,
borrow another one?
so she
So
didn't need it. Yeah.
she didn't. So I drew the mat, did everything, sat with her, went up Neva, and she saw it immediately that it was that bathroom. Now, obviously, I've started with that story, but we went for a couple of hours before we got to it was that bathroom. And I
Right.
just said to her, if you want to meet a man and you want to move to Brighton, you have to do what I say. Just because
Hmm.
you brought me in, you've got to do it. So she got her daughter and a friend in, and they did it. And within, again, 3 months, she met somebody. And now I know she lives in Brighton.
Wow.
Mm.
So did she put everything into another bathroom, and what happened to that?
I never knew. That wasn't down to me. I was brought in to do this. I achieved it. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
when you go around people's houses, they go, oh, well, oh, I'll just tidy up if you come. I said, do not tidy up. I
Mm,
want to see your house as it is.
right, right.
And to be honest with you, when I go walk through people's houses, and I mentioned it quite a lot in the book, when I walk through people's houses, I don't see anything until I'm meant to see what they want. Right. So what they brought me in for,
Hmm.
when a lot of people say, oh, I brought you in because, this is happening to something, and they're actually lying to me and to themselves. And when
Yeah,
I get there, I can, as soon as I've done the mat, I go, no, she doesn't like her job. No, her husband doesn't like his job. Yeah. And then I'll say to her, does your husband not like his job? Oh, and then you get the whole feel. Then
yeah,
you get, oh, my life would be so much better if he just liked his job. But, he comes home, and then when he has to work for me on a Saturday, do a few chores around the house. And in fairness to him, he's working all week, but she works as well, and he needs things done. So we worked it all around. It was amazing. And he ended up, the thing was that he would work, he would do a few things on a Saturday, and then they
mm,
do family stuff, and on a Sunday morning he'd go fishing.
mm,
And that for him was like that. But we had to do the feng shui, and the feng shui for that was he, they had a conservatory. A lot of people have conservatories and they dump stuff in it, don't they? Like old plants and things like that.
Yeah.
In this, they had nothing. I was like, why have you got this conservatory and there's nothing in it? And they said, oh, well, it becomes a junk room if there's anything and we don't use it. When I showed them the
I
direction,
don't know that anybody here has a conservatory.
is it an English
It's
thing?
it's an English thing, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
there it's like a sunroom.
yeah, sunroom, yeah, like
Yeah,
sunroom.
and where they put plants and should be a sitting room as well, or
Yeah,
no? Yeah.
or just somewhere like where the sun comes in and you sit and have
Yeah.
a cup of coffee.
I'd
And
love to
they just
have one, but I don't.
no, no, nor do I. But anyway, they basically that's where it was. So I did the
But it
feng
was
shui for that.
empty at that point, right?
Empty, completely
Yeah.
empty. I said to him, why are you not? He goes, oh, well, we made it a bit of a junk room, so we decided not to put anything in it. And I go, well, if I tell you this is where the man of the house is and he's got nothing, would you
Yeah.
understand that? They were like, ah, okay. So then we set it up for both of them,
Hmm.
but made it like not a man's room, but a bit like that, like what do you call him, a man, what do you call where a man, where a
Right.
man just have his own thing, and it just changed everything. Put his
Mhm.
computer in there, just made it a little bit of space for him. So
Now, I've done house clearings, and there was one house in particular. It was really 4 stories, 4 floors, and I went in, the basement, the first floor, and the second floor, and there was some energies there and all of that, but basically it was totally empty of them. It was almost like a show house. There was no them there. I mean, it was perfectly decorated.
yeah,
I got to the third floor and I said immediately, "Oh, this is where you live." Even though it looked the same, you know, it was very much of a show. You could feel them there. But
yeah,
what about in a house like that where it's just all show and there's none of their energy there? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's all for show. It's all for
I
not
mean,
living.
I have gone into a different way of looking at it. I'm a space clearer as well, and I have been brought into houses where um energies are that shouldn't be there.
Hmm.
And that brings in quite a lot of illness. When you have a young
Right.
child,
Right.
well, like 7 to 13, I know we're going off piste a bit here, um, and the house feels dead. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
was with this, I think he was about 9 year old, and they said, oh, he's got a friend. And I was like, oh, okay, I can't see him. They go, oh, no, no, he has got a friend. And I was like, oh, that sort of friend, yeah. Because I was
Yeah.
brought into Feng Shui, but actually, when I got there, it was this energy that was
Hmm.
there. That was
Right.
always the problem, yeah. And I thought that they were joking, except for I felt my mobile phone come out of my pocket and then be put back in my pocket. So I knew that there was something there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we had to space clear it first, and
Hmm.
basically then the house came back to being good again, yeah,
Right.
alive.
In this case, on in the basement, I needed to be cleared. The first and second floor were just empty.
Mm,
Nothing. No energy, no them, empty. They were show houses. It was show. I mean, one was a kitchen, but nobody really ever cooked there. Do you know what I mean? Where
yeah.
it was like a show house and it was all, I call it glass and steel. It wasn't, but you feel like it,
Yeah.
like you're in an office skyscraper,
Yeah,
and nobody really lives here.
yeah.
And those first 2 floors, I'll take a spirit over the emptiness.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes, of course I have been to people's houses, celebrities' houses that they have maybe 4 or 5 houses and they don't live in that one particularly, but they want
Right.
it feel that it's been feng shui so that when they bring people round, like you said,
Right. Right.
oh, we're entertaining in London today, or in fact,
Hmm.
this case was Spain.
And it's pretty, but it's
Yeah,
empty.
it's pretty, but
Yeah.
it's dead. But I mean, I was telling them. particularly this one in Spain, was where things should be, and they
Mhm.
were where they were. I wasn't particularly brought in for that one. It was, in fact, you're right. It was a magazine shoot I was brought in on.
Now
So,
that's perfect example of what I'm talking about. But they lived in this house, but they
uh,
really lived on the third floor. You know, the minute I walked into the third floor, it was boom, this is where you live. And the other floors are just show.
did
So
you
what do you
you
do
say
about
something?
feng shui in that? I mean, it looked feng shuied, but there was no energy.
Yeah, did you ask them?
Why they lived on the third floor?
Yeah,
Well, I kind of knew because I had psychically looked at both of them before, and the guy did not like the world and felt like he was being assaulted, and he was trying to almost get as far away from the world as possible, get hidden, you know,
yeah,
and push the world away. And the wife was from another country and very, very lonesome. And it was lonesome because she was living in his world and he wanted isolation,
yeah.
which he got, you know, but I mean, why are you here? Why are you in this house? You know?
But the thing is about houses, and I can 100% tell you this, that having been to many, there are good houses and there are bad houses,
There
yeah.
are definitely.
And some people, like your client there, probably chose a bad one
Hmm.
because, you know, of a lot of negative people choose negative houses. They go and they go, oh yeah, this feels like home to them because it's
Do
already
you
negative.
think that the house is negative, or do you think they brought the negativity in?
I think the houses are negative, and then you can add to that.
Hmm.
There is not here, but not far away. There is a village that has been well built on, but it was built on a battleground. Yeah.
Hmm.
And when the new houses went up, one side of the street, all the people got divorced, and on the other
Wow.
side of the street, they didn't. One side of the road, like on a ley line, all of them
Hmm.
got cancer, breast cancer. Yeah.
Oh God.
So I believe that where the houses are built, because I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I
Hmm.
went into the history of the whole thing, exactly where this was. I doused for it as well and found where this problem was. And in the end, I told my clients to move. That
Right.
was because there was nothing because of the way this whole village was like,
Yeah.
but it was like a new village. It was this tiny village, but it's become a new village. And what they've done is they've built on and built on and built on. And you know, the land isn't it's not right. I say the land doesn't like them, but the land isn't there to sustain the energy that these
Hmm.
houses are doing, you know.
And there's
So
nothing feng shui you can do about that.
not when I personally, I mean, you can space clear a house. Like sometimes
Hmm.
people buy houses, they do them up, they never live in them, then they got to sell them, yeah.
Yeah.
So they do them up to sell.
Yeah.
More,
Stage. We call it staging. Yeah.
yeah. And more often than not, if they've had an old house, and a lot of people buy houses and do them up where people have died, yeah.
Hmm.
And I have come across three houses that I've had to use energy clearance to help those energies go onto the light. Yeah.
Oh wow. They
Yeah.
got stuck.
They were stuck, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, and if you have an energy, the wrong energy in your house, you know,
Hmm.
then it affects you whatever. You know, I have my house and I still space clear my house. Like if I've been teaching, you know,
Right.
all these people have come into my energy, my house, you know, I have like I'm a huge rescue of street cats,
Hmm.
you know, and they all live the people of the charity that I work with, they're like, how do you have all those cats and there's no fighting and everything? And I
Right.
go, they're raked when they come in, and they're raked for about, I don't know, a couple of months. I've got one at the moment. So as soon as people come in and I have a group of like teaching eight, then after they've got before, not before, but after they've gone, our space clear because we
Yeah.
all put our own energy into, you
Hmm.
know, when you go to a house, right, and you walk in and there's a party and the hosts have had a row, you know, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, that is just hanging in the air.
So
Yeah.
often when you go into a house, you can feel that.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think people, and I also think that when people go in and go, oh, this is the house for me, yeah, that I want this house, then the
Right.
house goes, I want you to. And that's when it's a
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
I, you know,
Did you ever notice though, when there's a sale or right before a sale of a house, when there's going to be a major shift like that, even happy houses, furnaces start going, water heaters, it's like
what,
as the energy changes, that vibration changes, maybe to new owners or those owners leaving, it's like the house revolts, you know.
interesting. I have not had this
Oh my
conversation with
God,
someone
I've
like
watched
you.
it.
And it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things that no one would believe if I said it. But when I was younger, one of the things like, because I love Feng Shui, was buy houses, flip them, turn them, over, so I buy them, do them up, sell them. Yeah.
Right. Flip them. Yeah.
I can't flip them. I came to this house that I'm in. 20 years I've lived in this house,
Hmm.
right? I bought it to flip it. I walked in the door, the windows were out because the builders were doing things. I walked in the door as if the house went, oh, hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've never been able to move. I've done it up 3 times to sell it, yeah,
Mhm.
in 20 years. And then the house, like things happen, don't you, in your life, and you're like, oh, geez, I'll just move on. I'm going to go somewhere else. And
Right.
then the house does something, and you feel like, oh, no, maybe I'll just stay here.
Yeah.
So
I'm
it becomes,
telling you, the houses are living, breathing things that are very attached to who's in them. And I've bought my houses the same way. I walked in the door. One of the houses I hadn't seen, and I was talking to somebody on the phone. I was very stressed. It was the first house I ever bought. I was very stressed the night before, and I said to the person, I can't talk to you right now. I'm going to buy a house tomorrow. And I had never even seen this house. And I
really?
walked in and I knew it was my house.
Yeah.
And all the other houses I had seen, two steps in. I could pick out, oh, I want that or I want that in my house, but this is not my house, you know.
Yes.
And then the house that I currently live in is a neighbor's house. And it was, I had another neighbor saying, I had said to a neighbor of mine, if you sell your house, please let me buy it. Now I had no money, so it was,
Yeah.
you know, but I did not want somebody to build and block my son. So I was saying, please let me buy it. And she was 91. So it was a matter of time, you
Yeah.
know. And and she said, okay, but she kept telling me this other neighbor was moving and to go see her house. Well, she kept at me. I thought, well, I'll go see her house and then tell her, oh, no, it's just your house I want, right? I walked in the door. I looked around and I said to the woman, I want to buy your house. And
It's
it
funny,
was,
isn't
it
it?
was one of these. And then after that, because I didn't have the money, I would wake up at 2 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And this was right across the alley from where I lived. And I'd wake up so freaked out I could hardly even breathe. And I'd get up at, middle of the night and I'd go to that house, walk in the back door and calm right down and be okay. And then I could go home and go to sleep. But it took me almost a year to move in because I was so freaked out by the whole thing. I couldn't afford it. I didn't have the money, and every financial advisor said to me, you can't have this house. And I
But you
could
got it.
not, yeah, but I could not sell the house. The idea of selling the house was so depressing that I just couldn't do it. So, but it would be like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd be going over in my pajamas into this house. And this house loves water, loves water. So I have to watch anything with water. But they
It's
all do have personalities, these houses.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And and if anyone wants to sell their house, using Feng Shui and everything in the right way, when people walk through the door, if it's Feng Shui properly, like you said, someone said all they did was pick that up and put it there, and it made
Mhm.
such a difference.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it changes everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Feng Shui is. I just, I use it all the time because I'm a Chinese astrologer as well. I know certain areas at certain times have a lot of energy. So I play music in those areas at a
Mhm.
certain time to bring the vibration up. It's funny because this particular house is was sold in 1929. It was built in 19, it went up for sale in 1929, right? So it was being built in 1928. So 1928 was a dragon year,
Mhm.
and I'm a rooster, and the secret friend of the rooster is the dragon, and this house is a dragon house. Yeah. So
Wow.
I only years later when I started working on it, I said, "Oh, it's a 1920, it's a snake house," and then I thought, "Well, no, he's a dragon because it's done." And
Hmm.
it was one of the very few houses around here on the beach, and in 1964 they made it into two houses,
Yeah.
um, and 1964 was a dragon year.
Yeah.
So this year is a dragon year, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I am gonna sell it now. So I started getting everything done, and
Yeah.
about I'm gonna go and move in, not move in with my son, but buy a couple of houses together with him.
Hmm.
And the house was just put its foot down. It literally, it just wouldn't do it. I put new windows in,
Yeah.
water came in from somewhere else. I did something else. The house, something else happened with the house. I gave it a new front door, a new back door, and it was just like, no, it's you just
Wouldn't let you go, huh? Yeah. Before I forget, before I bought the house that I had to go to in the middle of the night to calm myself down, I had had my house feng shuied right before that.
yeah. It, it,
And
it,
then this house came up, and I never would have looked at it. I never would have considered buying it. None of it. And the woman next door that I was saying, I'll buy your house, I really didn't have the money. I just wanted that on the table so
yeah,
that, a developer didn't come in and build a 4-story house next to my 1-story house.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I had feng shuied it, and it was like, oh my God.
It's such a powerful tool. Um, And the thing is that anybody can do it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm a trained feng shui consultant and I trained in it and I've done that. But just talking about the book, the tips in the book are so easy to do to
Yeah.
make the tips. And the thing is, that's what I wanted to write because people say to me, "Oh, when you like, if I go into companies and I've got to do something like every year, we've got to place water in a certain area," and they go, "We wait, our sales wait till you come in because they know that the phone is going to ring as soon as you've been in and we've changed everything." And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Yeah," and they think I'm magic. It's just connecting with the energies and making sure that that building or that house is going to work for them.
Right. And the feng shui is about the house. It's not about the people in the house, right?
Yes, it's about the house. 100% it's about the house. But if I feng shui, I need to know, um, well, obviously I meet people, but if I'm brought into feng shui, I need to know both the house and the people because that's where I do it.
Hmm.
But you can, if I was just working by myself,
Right.
as the book said, I can work with the book and do the things in the house. Yeah.
Hmm.
But when people bring me in, it's because don't often have time to do it. They want you doing it there, then what we got to do? How are we going to make this happen,
Right.
And
You do it.
you do it, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's like one guy, I said to him, "Oh, if you put water here, you'll make lots of money." And he was like, "Right, okay." He said, "The bigger the water, the more the money." I said, "Yeah." So he built a swimming pool.
Wow.
I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What?"
Yeah. Well,
Um,
how did he do financially with
oh
that?
yeah, he did really well. He did really
Yeah.
well.
And after that, what did he do? Build a lake?
It's an idea, isn't it?
Yeah. So one of the tools is water. What are some of the other tools?
Right, so I'm a great water is feng shui means wind and water, water and wind. So
Hmm.
the idea of that is that you get movement. So the idea with feng shui is you get movement to make things happen. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so should we take an area? Right, where should we take? We'll take the good fortune area, which is the southeast of your house.
Hmm.
So the southeast, the element of that particular area is wood. You don't have to memorize this, it's in the book.
Hmm.
So if you look at the elements, the thing that nurtures wood is water. So in that area, I would use water, yeah, to nurture it. Now, if you can't put a swimming pool, but you can put a fish tank in, yeah,
Hmm.
then that will activate. That's a form of activation, yeah. Then you would do that. So that would be using water, but you would also use elements. So wood element, because it's wood, you know, like have wood tables. It depends what area it is. If it's your lounge or your dining room, you're laughing, yeah. And also, I like to have pictures, but pictures don't make Feng Shui work. They are more of a
The
manifest.
energy's not there.
They're more of a manifesting an intentional thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
to get movement, you have to get movement. I go back to decluttering. In my house, I have a missing area, which is the southeast, because I have an Art Deco house.
Hmm.
So I had a pond put in that area, and I've got fish in there. Yeah. So because
Yeah.
I've got a mixed area, I put the water outside. But inside, I use glass and light it to brighten the area and wood. I have wooden pictures. I'm a very much minimalist, right? Just so you know.
Hmm.
Hence my background. Yeah, yeah, so I don't put too much in, but in the book it tells you what things you can put in, like two ducks, you know, certain ducks in areas, Chinese coins, all these sort of things. It's all that sort of things are
Right.
in there to put it in. But I think it's all also about comfort, depending where you are. I'm really lucky that my kitchen is in the north, right? And the kitchen is one of the wealth areas because when you buy a house,
And is that true of every house or just true of your house?
so
That the
my
kitchen is
house
a
is in the
wealth
north,
area.
but the kitchen of any house
Hmm.
is the wealth of the family because it's where everybody gets together. It's where the food is cooked, which
Hmm.
blesses you with good health, all that sort of thing. The cooker, whatever you call yours, ovens and that.
Stove. Yeah.
Yeah, they are very important. A really good tip for a cooker is to put a mirror behind it because then you reflect double wealth when you have a cooker because cookers
The
are meant,
stove. Yeah.
yeah. And also when you buy a house, the first thing you put anything in is in the kitchen. You don't put it into any other room. So if you leave a house, the last thing you take out of the house is out of the kitchen, and the first thing you put into the next house is the kitchen. So you're bringing your wealth with you.
Hmm.
That's the idea. So that's a really important thing to know. That's a big feng shui tip, that one.
And if somebody can't afford has an old kitchen and can't afford to redo their kitchen, what happens there? Do they
No,
stay
no,
poor?
no. No. When I say it's the northeast is where the wealth is. Okay,
Hmm.
that's called the wealth area. That sort of thing. You can have the tattiest kitchen. I don't believe broken doors or anything like that. But if you have an old kitchen and you can't renew it, but nothing's broken in it, and it's one
Hmm.
of your happy spaces, and all your cooker rings work, and all your oven works, then
Right.
that's fine. That's fine. It doesn't have to be a brand spanking new kitchen by any means, but it has to be functional with nothing broken in it.
Hmm. Yeah, so then it's okay. Okay. I wanted to ask too about you talk about the garden. You mentioned it before. What happens if you do your house, you feng shui your house, but you don't have a landscaped yard? Or you're really not putting money or energy into the yard.
Oh, I understand. Right. So the yard garden, basically that has you go outside and how you've done the directionology in the house, you use that. You find the center of your yard and you do the directions. And so you only have to make sure that the 3 areas that you want to work with the
Hmm.
relationship, wealth, those are absolutely perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Not perfect, but like a bird bath in the south, or the southeast, so that you have that. And I've given tips on how to feng shui your garden. I'm no gardener. I have grass, and I have, like, when I was teaching the other week, they came out and they were like, "There's not a lot going on here, is there?" And I'm like, "That tree goes there, that goes there, the pond goes that. That's called Dragon's Virtue, and that brings the money in." They go, "Well, you haven't got a lot else." Then I go, "No,
Yeah.
I'm not a gardener."
See, I live in Denver, and if you don't water everything, nothing grows.
Yeah,
Well,
I
weeds grow. Weeds always grow.
know they do. The
Yeah,
thing is,
yeah.
I love weeds. When they came to do my garden this year, because I was gonna teach and everything in the garden, and I love weeds. I think they're really pretty, just so you
Mhm.
know. And
Some
when
of
they were
them
saying,
can
"Maybe we
be.
could take this out," I'm like, "No, don't take that out." I said, "That is a weed. It's this." No, Janine, it is a weed. So yeah, I do. But yeah, but feng shui outside is really powerful. Also, I just want to say something, that if you have mirrors, one of the big, I do a whole section on mirrors, because mirrors, what they show is what you bring into your house. So I have a large mirror that looks out into the garden, so it brings the garden energy in. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you can't have windows in certain areas, can you? So the house, so you can place a window somewhere, a mirror somewhere, and then bring the positiveness from outside in. Like on your front door, you
Yeah.
don't have the mirror straight in front of the front door. You have a mirror to the left, so the energy comes in, and the idea is it bounces off into different parts of your house.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What are the fly-in stores?
Oh dear. So I'm going to make this brief, but it goes into great intense in that. So when we did the Bagua, each area has a number. Okay. So the south has a 9, the north has a 1. So there's 9 numbers, and they all relate to different areas, but they also relate to, one is career, right? So flying stars, without getting too complicated, I've made it so easy in the book, right?
Right.
Um, if you have certain numbers, so you've got your bagua, it's got the numbers everywhere of where you are, yeah. And
Hmm.
then each year these stars in a smaller form fly. I call them flying because they move, yeah. So if you have, like, this is so difficult to explain, but if you have your bagua, and you have your wealth in the northeast, which is 8, yeah, and the star that flies in there is a 1, which is in the north, which is your career, it means you will have wealth in your career that year if you activate it. I put that in that little bit more. So for people who know about Feng Shui, yeah, they
Hmm.
know quite a lot. It then gives the people who don't know, who know more, the chance to go a step further. But I
Hmm.
have explained it for the novice as well.
Right. Can you give
It
me
is
another example of that? I kind of didn't get it.
It's hard. If I had my little pen, I could show you. You need the book to do it.
Okay.
It has the squares and it has all the numbers, yeah. So
Hmm.
everything like helpful people is number 6, yeah, and that's in the northwest. The 7 is in the west, and that is creativity. The relationship has a number 2
Okay.
in the corner.
Yeah.
The Fame area, which is the south, has a 9.
Hmm.
Good fortune has a 4. Ancestry has a 3. Wealth has a 8, and north has a 1, which is career, and in the middle is 5, which is health, which you always keep the middle of your house very quiet. You don't activate that in any way, and you keep clean and tidy. So what happens is all those areas, they've all got numbers, but each year there's a little number, and that gets moved around into different areas, right? So
Uh-huh.
this year in the north, we have the 8 and the 1. So this year it's really good for career choices, yeah. So
Hmm.
in my house, I've activated the north with water. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that my career will soar. And in fairness, it has, yeah. So that's what I've done. I have explained that in the book. And I think I'll probably do a couple of videos on YouTube that people can go and have a look at because
No,
it is
good.
much easier to see.
Yeah.
Whereas next year, as in January the 29th, 2025, the star one of the stars is 9, and that's in the south, and a number 6 moves into it, which means you will have helpful people make you famous.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's very difficult. So I will have water in there to activate that, and I will turn the water off that's in the north and then activate that. So that's very deep feng shui, but I have explained it so that you can do it.
Now, you can't have water in different parts of the house. Is that competing?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I my wealth animal, which is going in a bit deeper, is a tiger. And the tiger is in the northeast, and the element in there is earth, so you shouldn't really put water there. But as I'm using it like a Harry Potter wand and going, I want that to work, I'm
Right.
just using it as an activation, but I don't have water in that area.
Hmm.
I mean, I keep it to that sort of thing.
Okay. And one other question, the birth element, um, and how to use it. What is that? The
The
birth, is
birth,
that the astrology?
no, your birth element, you can find well, it shows you how to find it in your chart, yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm a fire rooster, but I'm a yin fire rooster. So my when you look up in the book, it tells you about your personality. So it is more Chinese astrology, but you can use it in the house if you want to, because the rooster sits in the west, which I put in the book as well. So
Hmm.
what animal are you?
Not a clue. Not a clue.
I won't ask you live on
Okay.
this what year you're born in because you're not going to tell me.
No, I'll tell you. 1951.
Okay, so you are a rabbit, I think. Dragon 52. You're a rabbit. Yes, you are a rabbit.
Okay.
So you sit in the east.
All right.
Okay.
These
So
are good things, right?
yeah, this is good because it's the East is rabbits like we see rabbits are all about family, people, ancestors, they're romantic, that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
when you look at that and you want to activate the East because you are a rabbit, that's what you do because you're just bringing in your perfect chi because rabbits are very strong. What month are you born in?
June.
After the 6th?
Yeah.
Okay, so your career is you're a horse. So you should have been and are on stage. You're a natural born speaker. Um, I don't know what you've done in your previous jobs, but you will be very good at selling things to people.
I've been in sales my whole life.
Oh, okay. There we
Yeah.
go. So next
Sales
year,
and management of sales, but it's all the same.
yeah, it's on sale. So
Yeah.
that, without knowing you, that's what I would say. So for you, it would be really good to activate the South next year by
Okay.
placing it on 180 degrees from the center of your house. So all
Okay.
these things are, it's an explanatory book that goes into quite depths, but also things that you can start to work with. And I will put some YouTubes up because I think that's really, really quite important. You've shown that to me today,
Hmm.
um, how I should actually.
YouTubes, we're all about YouTubes.
Oh my
There
goodness.
are so many things I read and it's like, oh, I gotta go to YouTube. I didn't get it.
No, and do you know the other
Yeah.
day I've got a 4-year-old diesel car, and even though
Mhm.
it's Range Rover, so it's modern, but you have to put add blue in, right? And the garage that I sold me it closed. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, I don't know how to put add blue in. Simple. I go onto YouTube, it shows me what to buy, how to put it
right.
in. I couldn't get it to work and then I went back this way. Oh no, you have to take your cap off here and do this.
Right.
I'm a YouTuber. Who would
Oh,
think?
yeah. I fixed my washing machine mostly because I got so pissed off that, I hated all the washing machines out there. They were all way too expensive and they wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do. I wanted to set the water level. And I went on YouTube and I fixed my washing machine. I am
Well
so
done.
impressed with myself for that.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
actually,
YouTube. I couldn't have done it without YouTube. I could not have read it and done it. It had to be visual. It had to be
oh,
visual.
thanks for that.
Yeah, yeah. What are the most common mistakes that people make
What in
with
Feng
feng
Shui?
shui? Yeah, not in general.
Well, I've got a list for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, are we talking about people that start to do Feng Shui or houses that are wrong Feng Shui?
I don't know. I'm looking at your book.
Okay. Okay. So if people, the biggest mistake I find with people that start to do a bit of Feng Shui is that they give up halfway through.
I was going to
Oh,
say, does it have to be done in one shot?
no, but what happens is, and they get enlightened to let's do some Feng Shui. That's why I say only do 3 areas. Start with your
Mhm.
most important area, just in case you get tired.
Right.
Take the time that you're going to need if it's full of clutter. Get your boxes ready, your disposable, your charity, your whatever. Declutter it, clean it, and then start it. And the energy that when you start to move these things, the energy, oh wow, right? And you're like, yeah,
You
I'm
see
loving
it
it.
immediately.
Yeah, I'll go to the next one. But then you're tired, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you don't finish it. So the biggest mistake I find is that people are very into it and they love it and then, oh my goodness, this has worked for me, so I don't need to do this.
Hmm.
Um, excuse me, you do. You pick
Yeah.
3 areas. If you pick the right three that work together, you
Hmm.
know, for your life, I don't know what your life is, and I don't know if you want helpful people or what you want or more creativity. So
Right.
when you know what you want, you decide where you're going to work, you decide which is the most important, second, third, and you start and you go through them all. You don't do them all in a day. You just put like a day every 3 weeks or whatever your time scale is, you can do it, but you finish the job. This is where people go, oh yeah, Janine, I've done what you said. And I said, have you done it? Have you done it? And he goes, yeah, but not quite all of it. Well, you got to do it all.
Now, is it damaging? I mean, does it go the other way if you don't complete it? Oh, okay, good.
It
So
just
if,
doesn't.
if you in the middle, if you get called away or whatever, you haven't done
No,
yourself harm.
no, you've done no harm. You've done no
Yeah.
harm. It's just that people have huge enthusiasm. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I'm like that. I'm
Right.
not Feng Shui because it's a big thing for me, but I put things in my garage, which is at the
Hmm.
bottom of the garden, and I get it all tidy and clean and sorted. And then I go back and throw my Amazon boxes back in it again. Do you know
I
what
know. Believe me, I know.
I mean?
A little too well.
So we all do it, but I think that it is. And my mum always used to say, when you go into a room, if something stands out to you, you're probably going to need it in the next room. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
have a habit of doing that, and like if my friends come over, as they say, oh, we'll just help you clear out. I goes, no, 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 I'll do it tomorrow morning because I'm an early bird. Yeah.
Right.
When I start clearing and tidying, but it makes me feel good. So I get everything washed and put away. Then the things that we've had out, I tidy away again. And for me, that's a bit of a ritual for the beginning of my day. You know,
Hmm.
I've got 5 rescue cats at the moment. And
Wow. Yeah.
one is a new one to me. It wouldn't settle anywhere. And they rang me out and said, could you do your magic with it? It had kittens in a wall, and someone found the kittens, but the mother wasn't there. So they set a trap, got the mum, put her in a cage. She had the kittens until the kittens left. The charity found the kittens, and then they couldn't find anyone for her. She went to a couple of foster homes. It wasn't working, so I got the call,
Hmm.
and I'm very successful. But I put it down to the fact that I have a very calming house.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
house is
And then cats of all animals will feel that energy. I can't say more than other animals because birds are another big, energy
yeah.
wise, but cats are very big energy
Yeah.
creatures.
And
Yeah.
and I've got street cats. So
Hmm.
they don't like each other. They're not meant to like each other. And I sent them a video, the other day when I decided to keep her rather than send back. Um, And they were like, it's just a different cat. And she's sitting with all the other cats,
Right.
whereas it wouldn't do it. But the energy of the house, everybody says that, it is just
Mhm.
so calm and that sort of thing. And I
Right.
think that's an important thing that if people have like so I have a grey house, right? So I basically
Mhm.
went grey before the rest of the world seemed to choose grey, although the latest colour is mocha mocha or something. Um, Mocha mousse it is the
I was
colour.
going to say it's the same color, but they renamed it. Yeah.
So then I go into my lounge and then I have like grey settees and then I have glass and then I have mirrors and clocks. That's me. I'm not a picture person. I don't
Hmm.
have a picture of my son everywhere or this sort of thing.
Yeah.
That isn't me. But I think that from an animal's point of view and a person's point of view, when they come in, they go away feeling better. But the house is happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's huge. That's
Mm.
huge. I just watched somebody sell a house and they kind of had to. The cost of it was too big and they were empty nesters, all that. But it was a beautiful house. It was a wonderful house, a very happy house. And some people moved in, and I thought they are the wrong match for that house. That house is just going to chew them up and spit them. And it did. Within like a year and a half, the husband had been arrested. The woman was in a car accident. It's
Oh.
like, oh my God. That house wanted them gone.
And they do,
Yeah, yeah.
it does. The cats can hear things that I can't hear, or you'll see them
Mhm.
suddenly looking at something. And I still space clear my house, but I mean, my
I
mum,
think they can see both sides of the veil as if each side is equal, so they can and think we're crazy that we can't. Yeah. I had a couple of cats and I loved having them, but they aged out and I travel a lot, so I can't have any, I won't have any pets, but boy, I miss them. I miss cats.
no, I can travel.
Hmm.
The last few years, I've had an older mother, which had passed last year, but so I think I've got quite homey. I don't know why. I think you do go through periods there, and
I think you do, nesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely the house has made me nest again,
Hmm.
and have things fixed and everything that do. But yeah, I mean, you can. I'm sure when I do get to move, when it is the right time, but the person that comes through the door has got to be the right one for the house. They're
Right.
not gonna let me go. The
Well,
house
it
had
won't go through if it's not. Well,
no.
some of them do go through somehow, but boy, houses,
But you know the
they'll win.
interesting thing that the people that have lived here
Mhm.
have been uh, single. I have been married here, and I have been in a long-term relationship here. Um, but I obviously haven't worked, otherwise I'd be here by myself now. But it is a house that likes single people.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
During COVID, my partner had to move in, and he did move in, but as soon as COVID was over, he the house he just didn't know. He just couldn't. It just didn't suit him.
Yeah. Well, the house asked him to leave.
It did, and
Right.
don't come back.
I know. The houses are pretty interesting. Going through the houses and even the way they look, when you look at them, it's like, oh, you can feel them. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can feel them. Even the
You'd make a
haunted
really,
one and
you'd make a,
non-haunted.
you'd make a really good Feng Shui consultant.
What I'm taking your book and I'm working on my house.
I can see it because the fact you see energies, you feel the energy of the house, the energies of the house, that sort of thing makes you tied up. And a lot of people, I'm working with someone at the moment. She's had the most terrible life in this house, and then had a terrible time selling it.
Mm.
And it just kept falling through. But it was the one with the initial when the child was there that the energy took it out my book, phone out my pocket and put it back in. Yeah.
What is
And
it? Wait a minute, say that again.
so I was just walking through, tight pair of jeans,
Oh,
no
that one where
coat,
they took the phone out of you. Oh, yeah. Well,
jacket.
you've got to sit down and talk to that entity and come to an agreement.
Well, the thing was, I told them to get someone who I really believe in to come around and sort it out.
Hmm.
And the mother said no because the little boy loves the energy. It was a child
Hmm.
and could see it and wasn't going to do it. Anyway, terrible bad luck came into this house. And I
Right,
said to them, what it's doing, it's not particularly making it happen. It's just it's vampiring the energy out of everything
right,
because
right.
that's how it's actually living. So when she
Hmm.
decided to sell it, which was last year, she got someone in because the boy's now 18, 19.
Right, right. So
So she
he's
got someone in.
going, yeah.
So he's decided he's going to go and live with his dad.
Hmm. Yeah,
But the point of the conversation is that's when she brought it in, and that's when the bad luck stopped.
yeah,
They sell
yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, you have to have a conversation,
Mm.
with these entities because if you're not in agreement, things are not going to work. Things
No.
are, and sometimes you can't be in agreement. That's the other when there's a problem. And sometimes you have to move them out. But, I first go for the conversation because if you can both live happily there, then you got a happy house.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think the fact that these street animals,
Hmm.
are happy here. I mean, you won't get a spider in my house. You won't get a
Yeah.
fly. You won't get any creatures because they're
Yeah.
used to living them. I see them walk around getting bored because they can't find anything.
Yeah.
Because I have
Yeah.
them in when it's dark. We have a lot of foxes, so I have them in early, like
Hmm.
3 o'clock. And then they're like, oh, now what? But yeah, don't care now the heating's going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do love cat energy. Cat
So,
energy, horse energy. Can't have
oh,
horse in the house though.
so
Yeah.
tell me about this door before we
Oh,
run
yes.
out of
Oh, I
time.
forgot all about it. So when I walk up to the front of my house and I walk into it's outside, but it's an on entryway, right? I'm really looking at a window. And to my right is my door. So my door is facing south, and these windows are facing west. So as I walk up to my house, there's an indent, and an overhang. So, it keeps out the rain and all while you're
Porch.
standing out. Yeah, it's not exactly a porch, it's just a little indent.
All right,
And
you're okay. Yeah.
yeah, but my door is actually to the south, but I'm really facing east when I'm standing there, when I've walked up to the house. So
Yeah.
the door is to the south. Is that a bad thing?
No, no, not at all. I mean, I'm a great one for making the entrance to your house, whatever the door is,
Hmm.
um, nice. And I know they say so. Do you ever remember Practical Magic, the film Practical Magic with
Oh,
Star,
yeah. Yeah.
right? So have lavender by your front door. Have oh God, I'm not going to remember it now. Something by your gate. Oh, nearly got it. It's gone now. So I have that. So I have
Hmm.
lavender by my front door, and I have whatever the other word is, and I can't remember by my gate. Yeah, and
Hmm.
so I just think you need to bring the smells, that rosemary smells and everything into the whole thing. So I use plants with smells to bring up the energy for the entrance. I mean, they say in Feng Shui you should have two bay trees either side of the door, which is good, yeah. But I like to bring in the smells and everything like that. So if you can just put like a whole bunch of lavender in a pot beside it,
Hmm.
that is a really good thing to do. That's very
Oh,
good.
that's
And
good. Yeah, that's good. I do have a juniper bush on one side and what looks like a pine tree. Somebody called it a monkey tree or monkey
oh,
pine tree
really?
or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, on the other side.
Mm.
Of the doors. And then the juniper was eating the house. I mean, got huge. And I had an artist sculpt it into its own individual kind of bushes, and it's pretty. At first, I thought, oh my God, it's weird. And then I got to love it.
Yeah. Oh, I
One of
love that.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I have. But the yard is just dirt at this point. It has no watering. And then what I had put in faces west, and I am in Denver, so I'm high desert and without water. I planted some stuff that should have been hardy, and they all died because I had hired somebody to water it, and they didn't. I
Wow.
went out of town, and they just let everything, you know, bake.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not much fun, is it?
No. So now I work. That's why I was saying, how about the landscape?
Well, is there hardy plants like cactuses? I don't know. I'm not a gardener, but so what I tend to use, I have had it like a stoned and then grass in the middle, yeah, and
Hmm.
also quite on. But I use well, we don't have your problem, but and I do have particular trees, but you can also have a clear garden and have stones in it, and then have um ornaments. I don't know how to call them, or
Hmm.
statues, that sort of thing in there.
Right.
And they're really good. But I do understand what you go through. Do you get a lot of
Hmm.
snakes over there then?
Not in my yard, but there's rattlers and all of that, and a little bit higher up in the rocky areas, you know.
Gosh.
But I'm more in Denver, so we don't really have them there, or certainly not my yard. But my yard's not real inviting either. So that's the other side
Don't
of
do
it.
anything with it then. Just keep it
Right,
as it's brilliant feng shui.
right. I know, I know. Um, so I should let you go, but where can everybody get your book and get hold of you and have you work with them directly? And I know you have a bunch of classes with the astrology, Chinese astrology as well,
Yeah.
so as well as teaching feng shui.
Yeah.
So,
So it's on pre-order now in your Amazon store, obviously
right.
American Amazon store. And it is, I think you have a Barnes and Noble is like your
Yeah, we
main.
have a Barnes Noble. And then
Yeah,
we
so
have a
they,
lot of metaphysical stores that carry books as
all
well.
right, I'll
Yeah,
have to ask them about that. So it's on pre-order. They said they've got it ready to go straight out. So we're only talking two
good.
weeks. So
Yeah.
that's good. Um, it's funny, loads of people ordered, and today, the day it was let out yesterday, loads of people contacted me. I've got your book, and they were opening their things and sending me pictures. So I think that it is
That's
actually,
great.
yeah, I know. I'm just really excited. Um, my name is Janine Lowe. So you can find me on my website, which is
And it's
www.janinelowe.co.uk.
Janine.
Janine.
Yeah. Low, Lowe. Yeah.
Yeah. So that has everything on it. That does everything. It's my books and talks about different things that I do. I have a Facebook page, which is Janine Lowe Feng Shui, and that's got about 250K people following me on there,
Hmm.
where I drop things, periodically there.
And your
And
YouTube channel, because now
and
I
I'm
have to
going
come
to
and
have
look.
I'll find out what my social media are going to call it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, I'm gonna that. I think that's quite important. And obviously, Instagram is Janine Lowe Feng Shui. Just put Janine Lowe Feng Shui, and generally, obviously UK, everything will
Mhm.
come up. Um,
Okay, great.
yeah, but yeah, I when if I'd had the chance to buy this book, I know I've written it. I wish it had been around when I started to learn Feng Shui because the books that were around were um
Complicated. I've looked at some of them. I've
um,
tried to do it myself, and it just first of all, I needed to be a mathematician. And your book is, I looked at your book. I thought, oh, yeah, this will work. I can make this work.
yeah,
I can do
you
this.
you
Yeah.
can. And if anyone has any questions, they can always message me via Instagram or on my Facebook page. I'm a very accessible. I'm
Hmm.
not, I'm here. It's what I
Okay.
do.
And do you teach feng shui and
Yeah, I teach
Chinese
it. And then I
astrology?
yeah, I have like weekends, so I have peek behind the curtain, and so people come and they learn feng shui with me. Um, I haven't got anything booked for next year because I've just finished one in October, but I
Hmm.
will start thinking about it in January, and I am I do train people to become Feng Shui consultants, but they have to work one to one with me.
They have to work what?
One to one with me. I won't
Okay.
work, I will work with two at the same time, but I prefer to have a one-on-one teaching people because the people that have gone through work with me, that I want them to be successful. I
Hmm.
want to make sure that they talk to me. I know where they are when they've gone out of Feng Shui, when they've learned everything with me over a year and then they start doing it themselves. I want to make sure that they get the back out completely because my
Yeah.
name's on it. So
Now, do they have to see you in person or can they do it over Zoom?
right, so obviously we've had times where it's had to be over Zoom for various things. So it's something I prefer to do, but they can come and spend a few days with me if they want to.
Right.
But because they're in different countries, Zoom has
Yeah,
worked really
that's the
well.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worked really well. And then at the end of it, they get a certificate. They're insured. They can go out and do it
Hmm.
and then start earning the money that getting back what they've invested in learning.
Right.
And the thing is, I make sure that their house is set up so that they're earning the money, they're being able to become Feng Shui consultants. That's
Hmm.
very important to me, you know.
Right. That's great. Well, thanks. I might be calling you up while I'm in the middle of my putting my house together.
Do. I will be happy to.
Oh, that'd be great. Thanks so much. And thanks for being on the show. I loved it. As always, I love it.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.